I'm Shirakawa from UE Transport. Nice to meet you.
The situation in Iran is all over the news lately, isn't it? Because of that, even though the provisional gas tax was finally abolished late last year, everyone was so excited that the tax, which lasted decades, was gone. It was a huge deal. But now they're providing subsidies again to lower prices. I heard it's costing hundreds of billions, maybe 300 billion yen. Since transport relies on diesel, has the price of diesel fuel also been going up?
Well, since those subsidies are in place, the actual increase is somewhat limited, but yes, prices are definitely rising, and we don't know how long the subsidies will last.
So, does the transport industry have to constantly monitor these changes one by one?
Well, there was a long period where we had to be extremely sensitive to every fuel price fluctuation. But over the last few years, we've come to expect that fuel prices will just be volatile. So simply saying fuel prices went up, so let us raise shipping rates, isn't enough of a reason anymore. Because then they'll ask, if fuel prices drop, will you lower your rates? As I've said in talks before, with the 2024 problem and all, it's not just fuel. All sorts of costs are rising. So I now set our rates based on the assumption that fuel prices will fluctuate wildly. Constantly telling customers rates are up or down based on every little change would just be a nuisance for them. It would be ideal if that mindset became the standard for the whole industry. But it hasn't been that kind of industry. Prices didn't change for decades. So now we have to set a range that accounts for all those various potential costs. Actually, a lot of the transport industry is already moving in that direction. Around me, many feel it's a bit late to just be talking about fuel prices. But generally, transport has low profit margins, just a few percent. Nationwide, many are in the red or barely breaking even. Since margins are so thin to begin with, this is a huge blow, but if we don't plan for it, people will just ask why we weren't looking ahead.
So, since rates are set with that in mind, the industry doesn't need to panic over every fluctuation?
That's right. However, if we tried to factor in something as extreme as this war, the range would be too wide. It would start to look like price gouging. Though very few people plan for things that extreme. I mean, anyone who could actually predict a war like this would be kind of scary, right? If this drags on, shipping rates will inevitably start rising across the board. Prices for everything will likely go up, but the scale of this is on a different level. But as people are saying, before we even worry about the cost, we might face fuel shortages or it becoming unavailable. It's already being reported that chemical products derived from petroleum can no longer be shipped. In the transport industry, things like engine oil or gear oil, there are items that can no longer be purchased. It's already happening.
Wasn't there something about paint thinner disappearing too?
Right, everything that is petroleum-based is ending up like that, and honestly, that's a really huge problem we are facing these days.
Yeah, that's actually scarier.
For transport companies, depending on the cargo, that might happen, but the cargo itself is disappearing, and even if there is cargo, if there's no fuel, the trucks won't move. Japan relies so much on overseas resources for food and everything else, and it shows in situations like this. Fuel is easy for everyone to understand, so it makes the news easily, but I think we'll start to feel it one by one as things become unavailable or disappear from store shelves. We'll realize just how many things were petroleum-based. It's so common that we don't even think about what things are made of. When we were kids, we were told those things were bad for us or whatever, but conversely, they're so essential that we can't do anything without them.
I saw a clip on X from a show called The Golden Legend from about 10 years ago about living on 10,000 yen a month.
Right.
They would try to keep their food costs under 10,000 yen each month, and then they would compete with each other based on whatever money was left over. Honestly, I was just thinking about it, and there is really no way you could do that now.
That's absolutely true.
Times change, so if we don't actually realize that common sense has to change with them, it's dangerous, I thought.
I agree.
With these changing times, fuel and, the dollar-yen exchange rate too, and the dollar-euro too, the baseline has become completely different from before, hasn't it?
Yeah.
If we keep riding the emotional roller coaster of those changes, I feel like we'll just be stuck in this cycle of hope and exhaustion forever. Regarding these price fluctuations, from your perspective, Shirakawa-san, as the president of a transport company, how do you see it?
Well, let's see. Fuel surcharges have been around for quite a while now, like with ferries and airplanes. Even with planes, not all routes, like some domestic flights, might not have adopted it yet, but prices linked to daily oil costs
being applied.
That part is mostly fine. and companies that set prices, including those costs, are also mostly fine. But those that haven't done it are probably struggling, or rather they're lagging behind. For companies that already had no profit or were in the red, setting freight rates with fuel costs at the absolute limit is truly a matter of survival, I think.
So with no profit, these high crude oil prices just mean costs go up? Simply put, that's pretty tough.
That's right. So for us and for our industry as a whole, well, first of all, we shouldn't get too worked up over daily price fluctuations. The price of fuel, but it's about how long this will last. If it stays high like this, or if it goes even higher, then we'll definitely have to start factoring those costs into our operations. Aren't there many transport companies just in a holding pattern? More than that, the fear of fuel becoming unavailable might be a bigger concern.
Oh, so fundamentally, you're worried about not being able to operate?
Exactly. A transport company makes revenue and profit by running trucks, so if the trucks can't move...
It's all over, isn't it? Thinking about it that way, it's even tougher than for long-haul transport companies.
That's true.
And along with that, ships and planes will end up the same way, right?
They will.
Like the number of flights decreasing for planes and such.
If it just stops at a decrease, that's fine. But if things suddenly can't move at all, then domestic goods will really stop moving. Well, trucks not moving is essentially the same as losing all kinds of power.
Like back during COVID, when you'd go to the supermarket and the shelves were empty, that'll happen again.
Panic buying is one thing, but it's also about being physically unable to produce, or factories lacking fuel. Since factories don't run on electricity alone, to run a factory they use petroleum-based fuels for maintaining air conditioning or for backup power. There's a real chance all sorts of things could stop.
If that happens, I guess the first step would be for the war to end, wouldn't it?
I don't know how it will end or what the best outcome would be.
Do things like that just go back to normal once there's a ceasefire?
No, I think it depends on how it's ended. I mean, apparently there are already ships that can pass through if they pay a fee per ton or something.
Oh, is that so?
I'm not sure if it's true, but those stories are coming out. People are saying Japanese shipping companies should just pay, but that's only if there's someone to negotiate with on the Japanese side.
If that happens, goods will start flowing.
Yes, but at an exorbitant price. And there's talk of taking detours, which uses even more fuel. It takes time, and the costs change. There are many factors behind rising prices, but when the base cost goes up, everything follows.
Even if Japanese companies keep the same profit margin, if the source costs more, prices will rise.
It's easy to understand this fuel price hike.
Well, you see the price every day when you go to the gas station.
People might just associate fuel with cars or ships, but with the 2024 problem, basically, trucks stop moving and prices go up. It's similar. Even if the cause isn't fuel, if you think about it as things not being transported, even if other products are made, it might make it a bit easier to imagine what it means when things don't move.
In terms of presentation, that way is much easier to understand. Being able to explain things based on your own actual experience really makes it easy to get the point across.
It's true. As I've been saying for a while, this 2024 problem in the logistics industry is originally the parts that will lead to higher costs haven't really come to the surface yet. Even though this alone should incur huge costs, the fact that it hasn't surfaced yet means if various things like this happen, it's going to turn into something quite serious after all.
It feels like the numbers like shipping rates and such are going to become completely unpredictable.
Well, it's everything in the world, really. All goods and services.
It would be good if wages went up along with that.
Right. Wages will probably go up, but the question is whether they'll keep pace with the inflation rate.
True, and I've heard that because starting salaries were raised so much, people in their second or third year are quitting first.
That's right.
There's a feeling that starting salaries might stay high for 10 years without further increases, and that's a concern people seem to have.
I see. Because while many places raised starting pay, they haven't raised it for all employees by the same amount or at the same rate.
They're only raising the starting pay, aren't they? And just when they think they've secured staff, mid-career people in their second or third year see those high starting salaries, get discouraged and quit. So for Ohe Transport, while you're mindful of prices, you're preparing for a worst-case scenario that goes far beyond that.
Exactly. So when it comes to fuel, it's a national issue, a national crisis, really. It's not just Japan, but in a worst-case scenario, it's not something a single company can handle. We just have to wait. If it gets to the point where it's no longer about what a transport company does, this topic won't even matter anymore.
It's not a problem that a single corporation can address anymore, is it?
There's a possibility the world will have much bigger things to worry about. I'm sure it'll work out somehow. I don't know if this is government information control or what, but the possibility that it'll work out isn't zero, so maybe that's why people aren't making a bigger fuss. I don't know. We just have to stay optimistic, right?
Yes, thank you very much for today.
Thank you. At Ohe Transport, we are currently looking for drivers. Please check out our recruitment site or corporate site in the description, and if you're interested, we'd love for you to apply.